All right, we are going to get started. So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our Fierce Founders Bootcamp finale. I'm Mandy Bujo, and I am very excited to be hosting this event today, as 3 years ago, Fierce Founders finale was actually my introduction to Communitech. As an Olympic boxer, I was asked to come to the event and present the winner with a pair of boxing gloves that represented the fierce journey the winner would have to pursue as she navigated the tech world. Now, I have joined the team here at Keynote as a business development specialist. Over the years, I have had to literally fight my way to the top of a male-dominated sport with little to no funding. So I understand firsthand the journey the Fierce Founders that we're about to hear from today. Today is a pretty high-stakes event. There's a grand total of $100,000 in startup funding up for grabs, so we're in for a really special afternoon. Following our pitch competition, we will welcome you to join us at Communitech's Area 151 for our Hub Unplugged, which is a networking event for Communitechers, Hub members, and attendants. You'll find some fine food and drinks over there, so you'll make your way through those back doors on the right, and a Communitecher will guide you to Area 151. So Fierce Founders consists of a boot camp and an accelerator program. Both programs are for companies with at least one female founder. During the Fierce Founders Bootcamp this winter, you're about to meet, the women you're about to meet were given an intensive education on how to build a company, and over the past month have been working with pitching experts to refine their pitch decks and practice their presentation skills. There were 23 companies in the last bootcamp. You're about to hear from the final 8 pitches. This is really exciting afternoon and the culmination of a lot of hard work. So we would like to recognize all of the women who participated in the Fierce Founders Bootcamp. So if we could have all the women who participated, please stand up. You deserve a huge round of applause. Programs like this don't happen without the support of our sponsors. So we would like to thank our corporate sponsors, Deloitte, BDC, Google for Startups, and the City of Kitchener. Thanks to these sponsors and the investment from the Government of Ontario and the Province of Ontario, the Government of Canada and the Province of Ontario, the Ontario Network for Entrepreneurs, Communitech is able to help entrepreneurs rapidly grow their companies and create jobs. We know that successful, sustainable companies are grounded in a more diverse, with more diverse teams and ideas. Our Fierce Founders Bootcamp is one way we help more qualified women move into leadership roles within our tech community. That's why we are very pleased to have these 8 founders competing for $100,000 of precious startup funding. It's a smart way to invest in the tech ecosystem that reflects how diverse we are as a country. It is now my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker today, Arwar Pillai. Arwar Pillai is the CEO of Fable. She actually came first at the Fierce Founder finale last year, winning $75,000 for her company. Her company, Fable, helps businesses test whether or not their technology is accessible to people with disabilities by making it easy for them to connect directly with users. When Arwar joined the bootcamp, her company was only a few months old. Next month, they will be celebrating their 1-year anniversary. In that year, Arwar has transformed as a CEO and a leader, and I'm excited for her to share her journey with you today. So please welcome Arwar.
Thank you so much for the lovely introduction. This is pretty unreal for me to be here right now because I was sitting there 6 months ago pitching my company, and I feel like a different person because I've grown so much, and Fierce Founders contributed a lot to my learning. What I want to talk to you about today, though, is yes, I did win the pitch competition, and I'm part of the program, and those are all the really nice wins. But I want to tell you about the whole story of when I was in the program and some of the challenges I experienced and how I overcame it. When I went through the boot camp, Fable was 5 months old. I was a first-time entrepreneur, never been in the startup industry, and really learning this whole new industry for the first time and feeling pretty intimidated. I'd taken part in pitch competitions before. I'd not gotten anywhere. And when I applied for the boot camp, I really made it my goal to feel like I can do this and I can be a leader. And I wanted to walk away feeling that, and I wanted to walk away feeling that my team feels that about me as well, not just me. So when I got accepted into the boot camp, I was super excited. I took that up as a challenge. And I remember the first day when I came in and I got to meet 25 other pretty fierce founders, all of them from different walks of life. And just being able to very openly and candidly talk about your business, talk about how it is to feel like a female founder in these rooms and feel intimidated, and just having honest dialogue. The other thing that was exciting about the first 3 days of the boot camp was all the things that was like thrown to us. I was taught about sales, customer success, finance, forecasting, IP, team management. There's so many aspects of the business, and when you're a startup, and a pretty new startup, you're really only thinking about the next few weeks. You're thinking about how to get your next customer. And for me, that moment was really exciting because I started visioning Fable. And it was not just me. I would actually message my team, and I would get them excited. After the first 3 days got over, I actually took back a lot of the exercises and did those exercises with my team. And that was really exciting because it's not only me that was excited about what Fable can do, but my team was pumped up as well. Everyone was coming with ideas of where we can do, where we can be in 1 year, 3 years, and that's the kind of energy you want to build. So I started to feel a little bit like a leader there, where everyone is looking up to me of getting this company going. I knew the next 3 days was going to be pretty hard, the one where you're constantly pitching. And so I wanted to make sure that I was prepared for these 3 days. So during the break, Fierce Founders was really good, where we get to have pitch coaches that we get time with. And I remember having a lot of time with Frank, and I'd be very honest with him about how I'm not liking the way I'm pitching. I'm not liking the way I'm coming across, and being okay with that. Being okay with, I don't know how to do this, and I need some help. And that was a big thing for me, to just accept it and then also say it out loud. And Frank helped me a lot. Once I started to get a bit more comfortable about talking about my business, I pitched to my partner, I pitched to my family members, I pitched to my team, I pitched to pretty much anyone who would sit and listen to me for 5 minutes and tell me that they're interested in my business. So I felt comfortable, I felt confident, I felt like, okay, I can go back into these next 3 days, and I am gonna kill it. I've got this down. My pitch deck looks good. I've got my speech down to the exact 5 minutes, and I'm gonna kill it. I remember the first day I walked in, and we were divided up into groups, and I went and gave my pitch, felt really good, and I got a ton of negative feedback, which sucked, because I thought I had it down. And that was really hard for me. It was hard for me because I'm a person who needs to practice a lot, needs to feel comfortable, and that's how I feel better about what I'm doing. And for me, at that moment, to get feedback that my pitch wasn't good, it wasn't even close, and that I had missed out a whole judging criteria, I just forgotten about it. So I knew if I went on this way, I'm not gonna make it. And I'm not gonna make it to the final 8. And I remember calling up my partner, feeling so shitty, and I knew I had to pitch pitch again in an hour. So called him up, being pretty frantic, almost in tears, trying to do a new pitch, trying to change things, trying to add things. And I was like, okay, now I just have to go do it. I went back, I did it again, I got a bit better. I did it again, I got a bit better, became more and more comfortable. I got to choose what kind of feedback I wanted to act on. Everyone's going to give you a ton of feedback, but in the end, it's kind of up to you of which ones you want to take, and I got better at that as well. So the 2 days ended. I felt like I have learned a lot. Just personally, I felt like I've really pushed myself, and I've come a long way, and I let it be there. I was like, this is it. I've given my best, and now whatever happens, I know that at least I learned something. So I went back to my hotel room, and I was trying to unwind, and I get a call from my mom saying that my dad's in a serious condition back in India. And I felt so shitty at that moment because I was away from home. I couldn't help my parents. And in these moments, you have so many things going on, and for me, my mind was just back home. My parents told me to wait for some time before they decide what the next step is. I didn't sleep that entire night because I was talking to my family, making sure they were okay, being updated. Really couldn't sleep because there was so much going on. The next day, came back to Communitech. I remember entering that room in the corner and not wanting to talk to anyone. I was just by myself. I knew if I did talk to someone, I'm not going to be able to hold a conversation, so I was just to myself. And I know the third day is when they announce the ones who made it to the final 8. And they announced the first company, they announced the second company, and the third company was Fable Tech Labs. And I remember feeling so over the top. I was so excited. I called up my partner. I was all in happy tears. I called him up, and I trying to tell him that I made it. But because I was crying, he thought I didn't. So he was trying to console me, saying, it's okay, there'll be many more, don't worry about it. And I was like, no, I made it. I actually made it to the final 8. And that was more for me. It was more for me that, yeah, I actually did it. I got here. I worked hard, and I got here, and I can do this. So I remember the third day, like all of you have been doing, practicing your pitches, going over it, getting more comfortable. Came here, gave my pitch, and immediately after I sat down, I was like, all the things that I could have done better, all the questions that I could have answered better, but I was like, no, it's all over. And they announced. And Fable Tech Labs came first place, and we won $75,000. And that was a huge moment for me. It was a huge moment for me. It was a huge moment for my company. And I remember standing on this stage, holding that check, and feeling so overwhelmed with everything that was happening in my life at that moment. The next day, I booked my tickets. I went to India. I spent a month with my dad, and he got better. And he's much better now. But that's when I realized that I can do all of this. I can be a CEO. I can be a leader. I can be a daughter. I can be a partner. And I'm doing all of this my way. I'm still figuring it out. We live in this place where there's expectations of leaders and what a CEO should be, and I'm still figuring it out, but I can still do it all in the way that's comfortable for me. So I know next up is going to be all the pitches are starting, and the only thing I want to tell the 8 of you here is that it is go time now, and I just want you all to just give it your best damn shot. Whether it's, I remember when I was sitting there, I literally listened to Beyonce's Ape Shit, and pay me in equity, right? So I loved it. So do whatever it takes. Do whatever it takes to make you feel better and get that confidence and kill it. That's it from my end.
Thank you. So next, please welcome Susan Shen from Taste Guru.
Hello, everyone. My name is Susan Chen. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Taste Guru. We're building a taste-based AI recommendation system for retailers so that you get to connect with food and drinks based on your personal taste preferences. Now, think about the last time you went to a store. As a consumers, it can get very overwhelming, and we're struggle to find food and drinks that fit our personal taste preferences. Retailers sometimes don't know who are buying the products and why, and consumers are hard to articulate or sometimes don't even know what they want. The problem is taste is subjective. For example, Waterloo IPA. The average rating is 3 out of 5, but when you look at the distribution of the 8,000 ratings, some people love it, others just hate it. It's the same beer. The only difference is our personal taste preferences. This problem is universal within the food and beverage industry, and is particularly true in product categories that have a large product selection and complex taste profiles. We have selected beer as our first target market for 3 reasons. First, beer is the most consumed alcoholic beverage in North America, with almost $600 billion market. And second, the product selection has increased 500% over the past 10 years. And last but not least, all my team love beer. So our solution is a white-labeled AI recommendation engine based on taste. At the back end, we objectively map the sensory profile of each individual product using trained sensory experts. Combining with consumer taste preferences gained through a survey, our AI can predict what products fit your personal taste profile the best. At the front end, our products are integrated with the retailer's digital system, both on their website or in the app. You can shop by taste, and it will lead you to our survey. By answering several eating behavior questions, you will get your beer recommendation, and you can complete the purchase within the platform or in store. This way, consumers get to discover more products they love. Retailer can optimize their product listing based on their product listing assortment and increase premium products trial. Lastly, they can reduce their staff training costs on product knowledge, which has a very high turnover, employee turnover. Brands get to leverage the insight for better marketing and new product innovation. We have raised a small pre-seed fund from 3 Silicon Valley VC firms, and we have signed a partnership with a beer store last month. They have shared 2 years' worth of sales transaction data with us. We're in the process of building our prototype. For our go-to-market strategy, first we'll target a retailer, and we'll charge a monthly subscription fee to access our software and data. Second stage is to build the SaaS platform for brands to access consumer and product insight in real time. We're projecting $600,000 ARR the first year, and the $200,000 price is based on our preliminary discussion with the beer store and other market research. And second year, we want to increase our value by expanding to wine and spirit market. And third year, we'll launch our SaaS platform to allow brands to access insight. The price is comparable to other market research. Although we don't have a direct competitor in the market, there are other AI companies targeting the food and beverage industry. Our competitive advantage is the insight and our unique value proposition to retailers. Our team is consisted of machine learning development, 10 years of work experience in the food industry, and a scientific researcher. We're backed by industrial sensory experts that are knowledgeable in wine, beer, and flavor innovation. With $100,000, we plan to spend $45,000 on data, $45,000 on software development, and $10,000 on marketing. With that, I would like to invite you to join our mission to connect you with food and drinks based on using taste-based AI. If you have any connection that you think will be helpful for Taste Guru, I would love to connect with you at the end of the presentation. Thank you for listening.
Hi. Can you hear me?
I can, yeah.
Oh, okay. There we go. Just a quick question on the 600,000. So in your revenue,
Yeah.
is that all with the beer store? Is that did
Oh,
I understand that correctly for your first year that you're?
Yeah, it's $200,000 per customer. We're planning to onboard 3 customers for the first year. So that's where we $200,000 times 3 customers to get the $600,000.
And you're in discussions with the beer store right now, but others are in discussions as well?
Yeah.
Can you just describe the revenue streams one more time, please?
Okay, so for the basically the subscription model for the retailers, we're planning to charge a monthly fee to access the software and then the data. And later stage on year 3 for the SaaS platform for brands will be a subscription model as well.
The data the beer store is sharing with you includes all the consumer transaction data for what kind of beer people buy in a year?
Yeah, down to store level and skill level.
And you can apply that against other retailers? You can use that data?
We have access to other source of data as well. The sales transaction data is a point for us to validate and what are some white space or missing opportunities in the market. And for example, we can analyze the taste profile of specific geography locations, and then we can correlate with the sales to validate whether it actually been accurate or not.
So you mentioned the beer store as one of the potential customers. Can you give us an idea of who the other potential customers would be? What would a pipeline look like for this business?
Okay, so our initial customers will be retailers who have large selection of beer. So it could even be Loblaws, LCBO, or online beer alcohol delivery service, and there's a couple of them in Canada. Those are all our ideal target customers. We want to target regional customers like beer store, LCBO, or First, as I think it's a good size. Our ideal customer would be large retail chains that have thousands of stores that could have a deeper pocket.
And just a follow-up to that, is the information of more value to the manufacturers of the beer or to the retailers? And help us understand why they would pay $200,000 a year as a retailer.
Mm-hmm. So for retail, right now there's a trend that consumers are demanding variety and quality. And there's a disconnect of connecting with the consumers on a more individual level. This way, we can reveal the insight on both the consumer and product side. Like for example, we can help a retailer to increase on premium product trial since we remove some of the risks from consumers to try new products. And second, we can help them through the new products innovation selection process to have a better indicator on what product will potentially be successful in the market. And lastly, through our customer interview, we realize they spend a lot of money and time to train in-store staff on product knowledge. But for 2 things that are not working ideal, one is there's a high turnover on employees, and second, the knowledge retention sometimes is subpar. This way, and for example, sometimes I went to do store checks, I would overhear a conversation that a customer asking their retail staff, should I buy this Muskoka beer? And the staff could say, oh, I never tried it before, but I heard it's good, you should try it. So there's some insight that we can add there.
Do you have enough data to date to prove that your algorithms work?
So we have collected 100, if this clicker works, we have collected 100 beer data, and using our unsupervised clustering. Like for example, here we are putting, there's a 43 dimensions in order for me to show you visually is in 2D. Like for example, styles as a product category actually resonate in 3 different flavor profiles: roasty, wine-like, and caramelized style. And we also did a test on ourselves. Like for example, my partner, Sarah, she loves stout. She will drink stout in the summertime as well. But she only like a roasty stout, which that's where the Guinness lovers, that's where the Guinness reside. But if I give her a vanilla stout, which is on the other category, the caramelized, she really hate it. So for us, 3 of us all have a similar demographic. We think taste is a better target parameter instead of just on our purely on demographic.
And do you think this algorithm becomes more complicated when you move it into the wine category?
Actually, from a flavor science perspective, wine and beer have a similar flavor profile. It just requires different sensory experts to able to pick out what is the taste profile are. From a chemistry level, it's quite similar.
Next up, we have Crystal Lewis, Senior Care Connect.
Thank you. At some point today, we all got out of bed, got dressed, and got ourselves here. But unfortunately, as we age, we lose the ability to do some of these things on our own. But how much would it cost? And who would you trust to take care of you when you can't take care of yourself? You don't want to hire just anybody, but hiring a qualified caregiver can cost thousands of dollars. So we want to help. At Senior Care Connect, we help families easily access qualified caregivers at affordable prices. We've created an online marketplace. And just like your traditional home care company, families have a sense of security because they can choose from qualified and pre-screened caregivers. Where we differ, however, is in our business model. Now, with your traditional home care company, typically they'll charge you an hourly rate, for example, $30 an hour. But from that rate, only about $17 will go to the caregiver, and the rest the company keeps. So families are paying a marked up cost on each and every single hour that they purchase. With our model, it's subscription-based, so we delete that hourly markup. Instead, families only pay one low, flat monthly fee of $35 a month, and then they only have to pay the direct cost of the caregiver. So for a family booking 100 hours in a month, with a traditional home care company, would have to pay $3,000 a month. But with Senior Care Connect, they're only paying $1,735. So families get all of this savings in addition to several other benefits, all included in their subscription plan. Now for our go-to-market, we are targeting 2 primary customers. The first being the adult children of seniors who struggle and yet have burnout as they manage their family, cost of care, as well as full-time work. And we plan to connect with them through digital marketing strategy, including content marketing, search engine optimization, as well as Google AdWords, in addition to channels such as hospitals and healthcare clinics. Secondly, we're targeting employers who annually are losing about $5.5 billion in lost productivity, specifically connected to caregiver burnout and absenteeism. So we want to partner through our professional network with companies such as these to help address this issue and offer our services as a benefit to their employees. Now, in Canada, there are 6 million seniors, and about $1.9 billion is being spent on private in-home care services. Whereas with the United States, there's 48 million seniors, and they're spending about $103 billion. Now, for competition, on one axis, you have affordability, where on the other axis, you have trusted and qualified caregivers. So you can always go with a traditional home care company, but they're typically not that affordable, although you can get a trusted and qualified caregiver. Then, you can always go on Kijiji and definitely find affordable services, but how qualified they are, you never really know what you're getting. Then you have some competitors who are specific to caregiver listings and might be affordable, but they don't actually have a pre-screened process for the qualifications of the caregivers they list. With us, you get qualified caregivers at affordable prices. Now, looking at our sales projection, at end of year 1, post-funding, with getting 2,000 users on, that would bring us to $385K for the year 1, going to $1.4 million in year 2 with 4,400 users, and once well over 10,000 users, $3.4 million by the end of year 3. Now, one of our proudest accomplishments is that we competed in the York University LaunchYou Business Accelerator program and became the top venture, winning their Market Entry Award for the year 2018. We also have a strong team with a complementary skill set. Starting with myself, Crystal Lewis, I'm the founder and CEO, a registered social worker with both my bachelor and master's in social work, with over 10 years of experience with an expertise in senior and healthcare planning. Partnered with Taiwo McGregor, my co-founder. He is a serial entrepreneur and brings a technical background. David Walcott, who has a background in digital marketing. Asiya Patel, who's a chartered professional accountant and is our CFO, as well as Christine Donovan, who is a personal support worker and will help us oversee the caregivers. This is in addition to several other advisors who also bring additional skill sets to our team. So with the $100,000 from the Fierce Founder competition, it would go towards marketing and sales to help us reach our year 1 numbers in revenue and usership, as well as product enhancements for our current MVP, as well as overall operational costs. But in addition to funding, we're also looking for strategic partnerships, such as corporate channel partners, as well as employee benefit providers. So in summary, 3 key takeaways for our venture is, our venture will be relevant to everybody at some point in their life. We are disrupting the current home care market and model. And 3, we're looking for funding opportunities as well as strategic partnerships. Thank you very much.
Thanks for that. Can you talk about the plan to fill the supply side of the marketplace in terms of the providers?
The caregivers?
The caregivers.
Yes, so in the industry, obviously there's a high demand in terms of the aging population. So personal support workers are one of the biggest industries at providing that care and is continuing to grow. So in Ontario, there's over 100,000 caregivers. And we spoke with several caregivers throughout the process, both from my personal experience working in the healthcare system for over 12 years, as well as recently actually speaking directly with personal support workers. And one of the issues coming up for them when they're wanting to work with families directly is their difficulty in finding the families. So even though there is all these families who are looking for care, we are speaking with caregivers who are saying they're having trouble doing the marketing to match with those families. So that's part of where this idea came from.
So you mentioned the quality sort of continuum and ensuring. What are you guys going to do to ensure that the caregivers are up to a certain level of quality? And do you think that, in year 1 where you have, I think, $385,000 of revenue, can you sustain sort of that overhead of embedding quality in the process?
Yeah, so part of what we're doing is we're automating the process as much as possible through the platform. So we're starting particularly with personal support workers. So from speaking with personal support workers and just insight in the healthcare industry, there's certain standards in what they need. So for example, a personal support worker will need a personal support worker certification, obviously through their schooling. Secondly, a police check, as well as a CPR and first aid training. So those are the 3 criteria that prior to even being uploaded on our platform, they would need to provide that to us. We've automated the process because when caregivers log on to the platform and fill that out, they upload that documentation for us to screen prior to them even being available for families to look at. Additional qualifiers as well is caregivers who are able to have liability insurance, because one element that came up for some families is when they hire independently, just in case there's a trip or a fall, they want that covered, so that would prove for that. Also, we're going to have, obviously, with other systems, a rating system where if someone falls below a certain rating, for example, out of 5 and you're a 2.5, that would not allow you to continue to be on the platform. So we're automating the process as much as possible to continue that as we grow, and that helps us to cut down costs in terms of overhead costs that a lot of the home care companies have, in addition to other overhead costs that they would have that we wouldn't with an online platform.
You mentioned in the first year you're targeting 2,000 users. Can you speak a bit about what that looks like and how you plan to get there? And is it through the partnerships with companies? And if so, where those talks are at?
So for the revenues that we showed in here, it was specifically through the direct-to-end users, so marketing directly to families and onboarding families as we go on. Particularly in the first year, we'll be focusing on the Greater Toronto area because it has a significantly large portion of seniors pretty much in the country, but definitely in Ontario. So it's based on an incremental increase month over month of about 200. I know it's not always completely linear, but roughly based on the marketing we put in. And for the first year, we calculated in having a 7% churn rate, as in the beginning, obviously, there are people who drop on and off the platform. What we would like is, when looking at strategic partnerships, that likely with a strategic partnership where the employers are covering that subscription cost, it'll help us significantly grow in terms of the amount of users we can have on, because it would be essentially their pot of employees. It would also significantly help in terms of that churn rate, because the payment for that subscription fee is coming part of their marketing strategy. So strategic partnerships is a huge channel that we want to go to, but starting off at this point, given that we're starting up, we are going direct to end users while trying to build those strategic partnerships and connect with them. And if we had that on, that would significantly change the numbers that you saw on the screen. Yes.
Do you have any idea of what your conversion rate would be from finding a potential interested customer online?
You mean in terms of families convert?
A family, yeah.
So a family sees our ad and
signs up.
And signs up. Conversion in terms of them finding a caregiver?
Signs up to your platform.
Oh, based on the marketing. So we just recently launching it, so we still have to find out the algorithms and actual stats in terms of the conversion rate once seeing the ads. Yeah. In terms of a dollar amount, or just?
Just a guess of, out of 100 users, how many would sign up?
Oh, out of 100, I'd probably say somewhere around the 30% mark, I think, would convert. Particularly, it also depends on the channel that we're going with. So we previously had a different model, and what we found is what channel is the best. So for this particular model, Google AdWords would be a better fit, where we've done Facebook in the past. When people are on Facebook and they're searching through, they're doing it more casually and not necessarily looking for something like this. When someone's saying, hey, I need a caregiver, they're going to Google AdWords. So the challenge we had previously when we didn't have funding is that we were limited in the amount of Google AdWords we could do. So we had to cut that amount of marketing, but the Google AdWords had better conversions because that's when people were actually marketing that. So if we had the funding, we could redirect marketing to the Google AdWords. That would then give us a much better conversion rate.
What do you think your unfair advantage is going to be long term? How will you stay ahead of somebody like Care Guide that you mentioned on that slide?
Yeah. So one of the things that we offer is just additional benefits. So a lot of the other ones are primarily just kind of caregiver matching. They offer some other services like tax processing and things like that. I think with our model is the add-ons that people are getting as part of the subscription outside of the caregiver matching. So for example, each monthly subscription, for those who want to choose it, can include a 20-minute consult with a social worker, for example, if they want to help navigate the healthcare system. Secondly, in addition to the caregiver, we have a separate marketplace where we've negotiated partnerships with other senior care providers. So for example, personal safety devices, if you need a handyman, someone to paint, a senior fitness expert, anyone who's a member on our platform for those more kind of casual types of services that you might need on an ongoing basis, they would also have access to that marketplace, which would also give them additional discounts in addition to just matching with the caregivers. So I think that process will give us a slight advantage as we go, and the fact that we continue to pre-screen our qualifiers versus a Kijiji or Care Guide where there isn't a formalized process for doing that. Soon as if I wanted to go on and say I wanted to help for cleaning, it kind of automatically goes on the platform, whereas ours will sit in a queue until it's screened, and then they will go on to the platform at that time.
All right. Thank you very much. You got it. All right, next up, please welcome Stephanie Florio from Swab.
Have you ever gone into a mall on maybe a Saturday or Sunday afternoon with a stack of resumes, handing them out one by one, not even knowing if these places are hiring? Over this past year and a half, we spoke to over 5,000 students and found that even though we're living in such a digital world, this is still the #1 way on how students look for jobs. Hello everyone, my name is Stephanie and I am the co-founder of Swab. We help students find employers and we help employers find students. Swab is designed to make the job searching easy for students and recruitment even easier. So how does it work? A student will download the free app in the App Store, answer a few simple questions, upload their resume, then we ask them to put in their postal code, which will help filter jobs in their area. And then, like the dating app Tinder, jobs will appear. If they do not want to apply to a job, they would swipe left, and if they do want to apply to the job, they would swipe right. How it works on the employer side is we built our website specifically for employers. Employers will pay a monthly subscription fee in order to get access to our employer dashboard. We built our employer dashboard with the feedback from the HR department at McDonald's and the HR department at Recipe. Once employers get access to the employer dashboard, they're able to post jobs, remove jobs, screen candidates, and even call candidates in for an interview, all on our website. So everything is centralized in one location. Here's a list of a few of our competitors, but what makes Swab unique is the fact that we are the only ones who are targeting high turnover industries. We have targeted posts. So what does this mean? Tim Hortons came to us and told us when they would post a job on Indeed for a location in Toronto, they were getting applicants from Vancouver. And I'm pretty sure no one's flying in for a part-time job. So what did we do? We created something called maximum applicant distance. That way, the employer can select if they want the candidates applying within 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers, 15 kilometers, whatever it may be. And only those candidates within the area will be able to see the role. There was a problem, and we created a solution. We have filters on our website which will help reduce admin time, and Swab is a set price. So employers know exactly what they're paying for each month, versus Indeed, for example, which is pay per click. So you may have an ad that's live, people clicking on it, and not necessarily even applying to your job. And guess what? Your bill at the end of the month is unknown. With Swab, you know exactly what you're paying for. Turnover is 70% per year, and over 29 million students in the top 8 developed countries holds a part-time job. To date, we are working with clients like McDonald's, Tim Hortons, Bell Canada, and Virgin Mobile Canada, to name a few. And on average, it takes about 6 weeks to hire somebody. Pizzaville, for example, hired somebody within 2 weeks. We cut the hiring time by more than half. Here's a client testimonial from a manager at McDonald's who just mentions that using Swab has been a great experience for him. We have over 13,000 users, and we're across Ontario, Alberta, and British Columbia. We've been featured on BNN Bloomberg, Tech Vibes, BetaKit, and most recently on the Marilyn Dennis Show. And in May of 2018, Swab caught the attention of Sir Richard Branson. Out of thousands of entries across Canada, Sir Richard Branson personally selected Swab to be his first ever Canadian company to win his Pitch to Rich contest. Not only did we have an opportunity to meet with Sir Richard Branson, we also won $10,000, which was pretty great. To date, our team consists of myself and my brother Alexander, and we are both the co-founders of Swab, and we both have a marketing and advertising background. We work with a developer based out of London, Ontario. And just in case you're wondering, yes, we still talk, and yes, we still get along. Now, if we were to assume that we had 500 job postings at an average of $24, that's an annual revenue of $144,000. As we continue to get more job postings on the app, revenue will continue to increase. And I want you to think about this. There's over 2,000 McDonald's across Canada, and that's just one corporation in Canada alone. If fortunate enough to win the Fierce Founders competition, we would put our money towards development for Google Play, because right now Swab's only available for the App Store, and marketing and business development. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation, and remember to swipe to find a job.
Just curious, do you have, so McDonald's and other customers, were they just in testing phase, or do you have active clients with revenue right now?
Slowly, so when we first launched, we had a freebie model. We've since removed that, and now we're starting to get paying clients. Yes?
Where did you find the students?
Yeah, great question. We do a ton of different things. So of course, advertising on social media. Anytime we say it's the Tinder for jobs on Instagram, our downloads spike up. They understand it, they get it. It's easy for them to understand, which is awesome for us. A little alarming at how many high school students know about Tinder, but it works. So we do a lot of social media. We're constantly in schools doing presentations, setting up booths during the lunch hour. We do this in high schools, colleges, universities. We hold workshops where we do interview tips. We've also been in a lot of mommy and me kind of blogs and Facebook groups, because a lot of the times if a parent says, hey, you know, it's a new tool to use to look for a job, they listen. Yeah, so we've done that. Of course, expos, we've done radio advertising, and we work with the We organization and our mentors to a lot of students. We've also done, what else have we done? Yeah, a lot of stuff to get out there, whatever we can.
Well, excellent concept.
Thank you.
So it strikes me that it would be easier to get the folks to download the app and maybe a bit trickier to get the companies on board. And so whose job is that in your organization, and do you feel that you're well suited to do that and
Yes,
achieve those projections?
For sure. It's been both my brother and I, and it's been a lot of hard work. We've recently got 6 interns, which is awesome, and they act as brand ambassadors on campuses. Again, anytime we say to a student, it's the Tinder for jobs and you don't have to go in anymore with a resume, they love it, and especially when we say you can look for a job sitting on your couch, it's like their eyes light up, which is awesome. And with the companies, we're constantly cold calling, emailing, going out to different networking events, and once they see how the tool works and how relevant it is to their business, they love it.
Have you thought of any partnership models to get companies on board?
We definitely have, none at the moment.
On the revenue projections, you
Yes.
showed getting to $1 million in 5 years.
Yes.
That strikes me as maybe slower growth than I would have expected.
sure.
Do you have a lot of churn? Do you anticipate it's difficult to acquire customers? What is it that kind of has that slower growth trajectory?
For sure. I just put that because I wanted to kind of be more realistic. 4,000 companies, so that was 4,000 job postings on the app, which would get us at $1 million or $1 million plus per year. If we were to sign a national brand, that can happen tomorrow.
And how will you maintain quality? So assuming, you know, the high school students are downloading Tinder and swiping right and applying, and McDonald's has to filter through maybe less qualified people, they might, you know, question
For
using
sure.
this over something
For
else.
sure.
So what screening do you guys do, if any?
When we did testing, so before we launched, we did a year of testing with both students and the employers. And a lot of employers do realize that this is somebody's first job. So what they're really looking for is somebody who's reliable, who will show up to their shift on time, who won't steal. So what we've done on our end is we have a lot of filters within the app so that an employer can select if they want somebody who's, say, 18 plus, available only on the weekends. And within the app, you can upload your resume as well. So that really helps filter out the candidates.
Have you run into any privacy concerns with using those filters at all?
No, we have not.
Okay.
And all of our stuff has been legally approved. We have a legal team. Definitely got to make sure you're good, especially with employment.
In terms of your projections, so you're just yourself and your brother and the 6 interns?
Yes.
When do you forecast being break even?
Right now, it'd probably be about a year to 2 years.
You mentioned legal on your
Yes.
supply, and we almost had a fist fight here over the certain filters you're creating. I see this as a potential way for companies to do illegal things really quickly. Are you worried about that at all?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So next up, please welcome Rebecca Swaby with Maple Precision.
The amount of digital geographic information about the Earth is increasing exponentially. 50 years ago, we used levels and tape measures to find out information about the Earth's surface. Today, we have access to millions of high-resolution satellite data sets. But the problem is, This information is difficult to access, it's inconsistently formatted, and it's hard for somebody without a technical background to use. Geographic information is the foundation of environmental and civil engineering companies' work. They use professional tools like CAD and GIS when they need to make a map. But these new high-resolution datasets are really slowing them down. And on top of all of this, it takes months of training to use these tools proficiently, which means only a handful of trained staff at these companies can work with the information. At Maple Precision, we believe that consulting companies should have better access to these rich geographic data sets so they can really show what they're capable of. And this is why we've simplified the process and improved the experience for the user. We have created an online mapping platform that allows users to simply source and beautifully present geographic information in minutes. Before building anything, we spent a year interviewing engineers and managers, and based on these conversations, we know we provide value to them in 3 key ways. First, we reduce the amount of non-billable time spent preparing maps for proposals. Second, we increase project margins. And third, we help companies stand out from their competition and win work. Our tool is simple enough that anyone at the company, even without a technical background, can make a stunning map for a proposal in a matter of minutes, freeing up technical staff to keep working on billable projects. Once a company has won work, we streamline the process of creating base mapping, meaning increased profit margins at the end. We are selling to environmental and civil engineering consulting companies. We charge a monthly fee for access to the platform, as well as the ability to extract and present information. We know we save around 50% of the time required to create a proposal map or a base map, and we've set our pricing accordingly. Today, companies are using 3 key tools to make a map: CAD, GIS, and Google Earth. CAD and GIS are expensive and powerful tools, but they're falling short when it comes to reducing non-billable time and increasing project margins. That's why firms turn to simpler tools, like Google Earth, when they need to make a quick map. But although simple and free, it's lacking in professional quality. And that's where we deliver. There are over 100,000 companies in North America that could benefit from our platform. The geographic software industry is worth around $5.4 billion globally, and it's growing by around 12% per year. We can use our platform in many different industries, but when we enter the market, we're focused specifically on consulting managers, people that understand the financial targets of their organization and how we can work with them to better achieve against these metrics. We're a few months away from launching, so any investment received going forward will be spent on our go-to-market strategy. So this means lunch and learns, trade show demos, conferences, as well as LinkedIn campaigns. Our proposed breakdown for the 100,000 is shown above, which includes around 60% for sales and marketing personnel and 40% for expenses related to our go-to-market strategy. In the first 2 years, we will be investing heavily in the growth of our company, but by the end of year 2, we're projecting around 600 users and that we will be cash flow positive. By the end of year 4, we're projecting around $3.5 million in net annual revenue and over 3,000 users. Our team includes myself. I have 10 years of experience in consulting engineering, and my partner Patrick, who has 15 years of experience in hardware and software design, as well as working with large 3D spatial data sets for the creation of 3D games. We also have 2 full-time staff, 4 part-time staff, and are supported by advisors at 3 local accelerator centers. Using our platform, we will help consulting companies win work, keep staff billable, and stand out as leaders. At Maple Precision, we know that professionals who use geographic information hate wasting time sorting through the mess. They would love to save time collecting and visualizing this data in modern ways, and that's what we do.
So you mentioned that you guys have spent a year, I think, gathering the datas, gathering the maps and all the information. Do you have something that you can go to market with now?
So we're a couple months away, but yes, we have been collecting these data sets. So governments, including municipal governments, provincial governments, state governments, have been investing in collecting this information. So they are flying drones and airplanes across large geographic areas with LiDAR and GPS to collect very accurate topographic maps. Now, this information is public, but they're having a hard time sharing it. It's so large that you have to physically mail them a hard drive sometimes to get it, or you're downloading large chunks that then you have to spend weeks sorting through and piecing together. So that's the data collection side. And then I think you're also asking about validating it from the customer side, or
No,
were you
that's
just the
good,
data?
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about how you'll scale the sales model? Like, there's a lot of companies. You mentioned 100,000 in North America. You mentioned the overall TAM at 5.4 billion globally. But how do you access them all? Like, what's the scalability of the sales model?
Yeah, so we started to look into the details about consulting companies in Ontario specifically. As a member of the Professional Engineering Association here, I have access to this information. So we looked at how many companies there are locally, and that's kind of where we came up with that number. We scaled it up for North America. There's actually a surprising number of small businesses with just 1 or 2 engineers that are licensed that are operating a small company. So we think we provide value to the big companies for the reason that I described, but for the smaller companies, they're making choices between software. Some of them are choosing either GIS or CAD because, maybe budgets are a little bit tighter. So we think that we can help them kind of bridge that gap because our platform works with different data sets. We can pull in GIS, we can pull in CAD, we can pull in LiDAR, so we can bridge that gap for them. In terms of accessing the bigger companies, that's really where we want to go after first. These larger organizations with thousands of staff, potentially we can bring on hundreds of users at a time. So when I say lunch and learns, trade show demos, that's where these companies are, and that's who we want to be talking to first.
And so in terms of the larger companies, they're probably the ones using CAD and GIS. Mm-hmm. Do you know whether CAD and GIS, I think some of the slide with the check marks that show what you do and what they do, has them not reducing non-billable time? I'm not sure exactly what bridges that, but do you know whether they're on the roadmap to addressing that with their current platform?
So when we started to do our interviews, we were really looking for a place, because geographic information at the end of the day can be used in so many different ways, construction, agriculture, but we just wanted to find a place where it's currently, maybe there's a bit of a gap in tools. So what we found is at the proposal stage for these companies, which is basically their marketing investment to win new work, they're investing time and money to convince a future client that they would be the right one for the job. So what they do now is they demonstrate their insights in text, but also in maps as well. So if it's a new bridge project, for example, they want to demonstrate that they understand the site, and they want to propose their plan on top of it. So what they're doing now is they're pulling a technical staff member away from a project that's paying them. So sometimes days or weeks at a time, they're being used on this marketing investment task. But what we're saying is that using our platform, anybody can make that map for the proposal, and then the project manager can layer their insights on top of that very simply. So now we can bring an admin assistant to the table perhaps, or the project manager themselves, somebody else who's available, so it kind of opens it up and makes it more accessible to a larger group at the company. So that's where the reducing non-billable time comes in, yeah. In terms of CAD and GIS, these tools are the standard for the industry. We're not trying to replace CAD and GIS. We're trying to supplement the process. We work with CAD and GIS. Somebody can take what they've done for the proposal stage, and they can easily move it into CAD when they start the project. So that's, really where we see ourselves now.
Perfect. Thank you.
Just back to the source of data that you're using, you said it's publicly available mapping data, and you are using that open data in your product. Did I understand that correctly?
So we built it in a way that we pull in open data sets like GIS information, shapefiles, as well as new types of data sets like the LiDAR data sets that we're having a hard time moving and managing now because they're so big. The other option, though, is that the company can drag and drop their own data sets in. So usually these projects, when you start a new bridge project, again, as an example, you would do a topographic survey of the site because you need specific things that might not be covered by what's available. So now you can just drag that in as well and see all the layers of information and you can present what you need for that certain task.
So then do you need to customize your product at all for different geographic markets, like i.e. getting different sources of data into it, or do you have enough at a broad level that the product can function without some level of in-market customization?
We have quite a lot of data. Provinces, as I said, have invested province-wide in collecting this LiDAR data that in places is accurate, to 30 centimeters. It's quite accurate, even 10 centimeters. Ontario, New Brunswick, the city of Vancouver, Kitchener. So that's what we've been spending time pulling in, as well as the states. We have a large set of data from the United States Geologic Society, as well as other agencies that have conservation authorities are collecting this information. So we're doing the legwork and pulling it together, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, next up, Alexandra McCullough from Air Matrix.
Airspace is being revolutionized, and at Air Matrix, we build highways in the sky for UAVs. Right now, drone delivery is happening between islands in the Pacific Ocean and in our indigenous communities. Businesses and governments will spend $13 billion on drones between now and 2020, and congestion is a clear problem. Validated by the airport shutdowns caused by drones, the recent incident at London Heathrow caused £50 million in losses. 10 million daily drone flights are predicted by 2024, and new technology infrastructure is needed to handle them. Let's take a step back from technology towards history for a moment. We're at the same place with drones today as we were in the early days of cars. Decent hardware, horrible infrastructure and governance. We had paths shared by horse, buggy, pedestrian, streetcar with no rhyme or reason. And then came roads, sidewalks, streetlights, and software, so the true economic benefit of cars could be realized. Cue us. We build roads in the sky that any drone can plug and play into, so cities can manage with the exponential growth in air traffic below 1,000 feet. We make it possible for delivery and air taxis and other physical A to B distribution, but more importantly, we make it possible for emergency services to operate at a greater scale and speed. We do this by prioritizing their drones on our lanes and pausing commercial traffic. We're one of the very few companies developing at the firmware level towards autonomy, especially in congested areas. This isn't for your recreational pilot, but rather your commercial users, such as Canada Post and Uber. To operate in a city, you would have to use Air Matrix lanes implemented by the municipality. Commercial users would be given a token to add their fleet to our cloud-based traffic control system. And we support third-party police drones that can identify and extract non-compliant aircraft. Our centimeter-level precision provides safety within density. Our API is interoperable with different hardware and aerial services for scalability, and our multi-drone command and control provides efficiency. We're part of the Remote Traffic Management Action Team, responsible for the Nationally Unified Unmanned Traffic Management System, the roadmap to that. With 3 other companies, we work closely with Transport Canada, the regulators, as well as NAV Canada, Unmanned Systems Canada, and the Department of Defense. These UTM companies are beginning to integrate with us. They provide some situational awareness to both pilots of UAVs and airplanes via their dual-sided marketplace. The existing deals they have with air traffic controllers for planes and helicopters above 1,000 feet make them a great distribution channel for us. We're approved for a 150-acre site in Calgary, representing 2 million, and a 750-acre site in Ottawa. Calgary, for example, is excited to lead commercialization, already attracting companies for drone applications. In the pipeline, we have Houston, as well as areas in the UAE and Spain. Think of a toll road, like the 407 highway. The government is incentivized to build based on the socio-economic benefit for their constituents. And so, an infrastructure company charges the government to build, and then constituents pay when they use it. After closing our pre-seed round and our first 2 deals, we predict $600K in revenue in the next 6 months and another $1 million in 12 months. The plan for year 2 would be to go to global cities. This requires us to embed ourselves within regional-specific airspace and regulatory communities. This is just as we did at the Unmanned Systems Canada conference, which directly led to our product validation and our current 2 customers. With the extra $100K, we would travel to, attend, speak at, and sponsor specific trade shows in America, Asia, and Europe. Moreover, we would search for and hire a VP of Strategic Partnerships to go after and negotiate UTM deals around the world. We met at the University of Toronto, where we saw the direction in which IoT was impacting cities. We're a multidisciplinary team of ex-business consultants and super advanced engineers. The engineers understand the full technology stack, having both built award-winning drones and autonomous robotic systems. We have world-renowned UAV researchers supporting and validating us, as well as top cybersecurity business execs and other business execs, as well as tech founders who've been acquired by billion-dollar companies. Remember this: if first came cars and then came roads, first came drones and then came Air Matrix. Thank you.
Awesome. Super fascinating.
Thank you.
And so you said you got your 2 customers. Can you just walk me through the revenue model again? Are the customers Calgary and Ottawa, and then they will charge the users, the Ubers, the postal services for the use of those roads?
Yes, so going back to the build new road and then run existing, we are not projecting at all what the run existing revenue will look like yet, because that is going to be based on the number of customers that we help them onboard into this site. So right now, we just break down what that revenue is on the cost that we charge them to just build. So think of it as a delivery consulting project to build, and then markup is built into really our profit is built into the talent that we bring to come and build that.
And so you have another revenue stream of then unlocking the users on those roads, and you'll share a portion.
We're exploring, we want to incentivize municipalities, so we see this as possibly a revenue share. Part of our delivery of that build is training up Calgary-based people, so it's incentivizing them for that. And eventually we could see how much they could run on their own, and see what the revenue share would be down the road, but we're not there yet.
Cool, thanks.
Sorry, just to touch further on that. So the 600, let's say for the first 2, so that's to go out and build. Do the cities then own that, or is that, and I know you say you're getting towards a rev share model or talking about that, but is that the case right now that they would own that space and they could put other users in there, or no, there's a restriction on that?
They would have to, part of the agreement of building is the licensing built into that legally, so they wouldn't own, yes, it's space, but they do not own the software in which it takes to operate in the space. Yeah.
With respect to the full tech stack that's owned through your organization, is any of it protected intellectual property already? Like, what's the barrier to entry to other companies that want to build similar technology?
Yes, so we're going through the patent filing process right now. So we completely identify that. We're working with IP lawyers, Burskin and Parr and others. So
right now, trade secrets.
Do you see federal standards becoming a opportunity or a problem?
Big opportunity. So my CEO is back and forth to Ottawa every other week. That's part of the RTMAT, or the Remote Traffic Management Action Team. We're essentially building the nationwide standards and architecture for unmanned traffic management. So we see ourselves embedding where we're going to be at that stage. And that's our plan for what we want to go and do with other municipalities.
And are there any competitors in this space right now, or
No.
anybody starting up that you know
No,
of?
so there are a lot of what I call the unmanned traffic management companies that do essentially what I said, that reporting to the air traffic controllers, but this is a software mechatronics problem, right? They are not embedded in that. All these other UTM companies want to work with us because we differentiate them when they go and sell at the ANSP, or the Air Navigation Service Provider, Nav Canada level.
You've spent a lot of time in the Canadian market understanding what would work in Ottawa, et cetera. What are the main differences between Canada and the US when it comes to this type of an offering?
So in the US, they are further ahead in developing their roadmap towards BVLOS, so beyond visual line of sight. Canada is a bit slow on that because they want to wait till they've built out their UTM ecosystem roadmap before that. So it would just be a case of really seeing what existing BVLOS trials we would fit into, but not, they are doing it based on use case, not on infrastructure.
Can you talk a bit about the VP Street partnerships? What's the role for this person specifically? What would you be hoping with that role?
So the UTM partnerships are a very quick way for us to get into some global markets. They are big fish, and we want big salespeople who have dealt with those big type of negotiations before, going after and negotiating those, basically. AirMap, for example, raised $26 billion in their Series B. So the founders of our founder and their founder are friends, but still, when it comes to this type of thing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next up, we have Marianne Bell from Toxon Technologies.
Hi, everyone. I'm Marianne, and I am the CEO of Toxon Technologies. I'd like you to meet George. George is passionate about archery. And like millions of people around the world, he enjoys the sport because it's fun, it's social, and it's competitive. George also owned and operated an archery retail shop for 35 years. He spent his career helping archers learn how to form good shooting habits. But without someone like George around every time an archer practices, how can they know that they're establishing good skills? We talked to many archers about how they develop their skills. It turns out they manually gather data to help themselves improve. Something as simple as counting shots is done with the manual click counter, and target scores are tracked manually in Excel. The data is valuable, but the time and energy it takes to gather and analyze it is too much. We thought, let's make bows smart enough to help archers independently improve their skills. We are using sensor technology to provide archers with real-time feedback and data about their shot habits. Our patent-pending solution will be used by archers, appeal to any archer because of its affordable price point, its socially driven features, and its easy installation. Similar to what Fitbit did with the pedometer, we are bringing the bodometer to the archery market. There are over 20 million archers in North America, which is half of the overall global market. And these archers spend $3 billion every year on archery equipment and accessories. Pop culture references like the Hunger Games, the Avengers, and even a Disney princess are inspiring growth, especially within the youth and female demographics. So here's how our solution works. Our product's attached to a user's bow. where the sensors collect data. The subscription-based mobile applications provide extended features and elevate the user's experience. And these features include things like shot counting, consistency, they show improvement over time, and they allow users to connect with their friends, which generates word-of-mouth marketing. Unlike competitive products, we have a cloud-based data platform that aggregates data to provide advanced insights and analytics. And these insights can be used by the bow manufacturers to gain highly valuable information about how their customers are using their products. So far, we have a fully functional prototype, and we filed our first patent earlier this year. Our small volume beta program will roll out this spring, and we'll work towards a production launch of our bodometer product in the fall. It'll be a basic product with basic functionality that can appeal to any archer with a price point of $60. Additional features are on a subscription basis. From there, we'll focus our development onto the next generation consumer product, where we'll increase the sophistication and complexity of our sensors and insights to appeal to more advanced archers who spend thousands of dollars on archery every year. Going to market, we will sell direct to customers, but our primary sales channel is working with archery distributors. In the archery industry, these distributors have well-established credibility and unparalleled market reach. And we're leveraging key relationships that we have with distributors to engage them. We've already received a verbal commitment from the largest distributor in North America. On the production side, we have existing relationships with high-volume Tier 2 manufacturers who are able to help volume production scale to meet product demand. We've already met my co-founder, George, who spent 40 years immersed in the archery industry. He teamed up with myself and my co-founder, Joe, who have spent our careers successfully building and delivering tech solutions. By launching these two consumer products into North America over the next 18 months, we're projecting that in 3 years, we'll have sales of 800,000 units, and we'll have built a subscriber base that generates $2.5 million in recurring revenue each year. We've currently bootstrapped our efforts to date, and we've put in a lot of sweat equity and some personal funds. We're now fundraising to cover the hard costs to take us to production launch. With $100,000 funding from Fierce Founders today, we would put it towards manufacturing inventory, product certifications, and some marketing. By merging current technology trends with a traditionally non-technical market, we are the only archery solution that provides an IoT data platform that provides recurring revenue to our customers, value to our customers. Our positive traction to date has solidified our ability to reach customers and meet demand. At Toxon Technologies, we want our patented technology to ultimately change the way people use their precision archery equipment globally. Thank you.
Thanks for that. So on what sort of market research or intel did you base the fact that, well, I take archery as sort of an outdoor sport that maybe someone wouldn't want to digitize. What makes you sort of certain that someone wants to associate sort of archery in a outdoorsy, woodsy kind of sport with an app and digitizing sort of that experience?
So there's a few things I would say to that. The first one is there's actually a lot of indoor archery that happens. A lot of it is very tournament-based, and people practice indoors year-round. They do use it to get outdoors. There's a big push for outdoor activities. But one thing consistently when we talk to archers in the archery market is that they are extremely competitive people. Not necessarily always with others, but definitely with themselves. So by giving them a platform where they can sort of brag about their successes and compete mini competitions with each other, when you go out on a 2-week hunting trip, maybe you want to sort of compare how many shots did you take, how many shots did I take, what was your score, what was mine. So you're sort of doing a social gamification of this. And people do shoot archery for social reasons. It's not strictly for hunting reasons or just to be able to hit the target. There's a very social aspect to the game. They have leagues like bowling does, for instance. So we're really playing on the social gamification side of it. But we've also made our product robust enough for people who aren't interested in using their phones that you can actually use our basic product without needing your phone at all. So it has a display screen and buttons so you can interact and get the basic data that way.
I might have missed this, but can you walk us through the pricing model? How much are you going to charge for this? And then one layer further, what are your costs?
Sure. So our pricing model is to charge people for the device and then have a freemium model of apps to get people using our applications. And then from there, there's a premium feature base that's subscription-based. So our first product, the Boatometer, is going to be priced at $60 retail. Our costs in that is $20 or less. And then we have margins built in for distributors because they're such a key part of our partnerships, and retailers to have them incentivized to do the marketing.
And how does that relate to the cost of the bow, the arrows, the other equipment?
Okay. So a standard bow ranges, depending on what your skill level is and sophistications, customizations, you'd pay $500 for a bow all the way up to $5,000. And then after that, people usually customize it with various accessories and equipment. They add weights to it or stabilizer bars, all sorts of accessories. So we're really trying to do low price point. We do have one competitor in the market. They don't have a data platform, and their product with sensors retails for $300 to $500. So you're basically, the entire cost of your bow is being spent on this again. And that one's an invasive installation where it's permanently attached to your equipment. So you're spending hundreds or thousands of dollars on equipment and then essentially wrecking it or permanently changing it. So ours is more transportable. You can detach it. You can have multiple bows, which many archers do, and move it from bow to bow.
Would that be just the main competitor? Are there others? Or, and I don't know the market that well, so it sounds very niche, but when you say theirs attaches but doesn't give the data, what does their product actually do?
So their product has a flexible sensor that you glue onto the bow riser, which is where you hold it. And it tries to find the right spot to draw back, not too far, not far enough, the perfect spot. They call it the sweet spot. And what it does is they do have Wi-Fi so that you can connect to it, but only when you're within that area. And it just plots shot after shot, kind of what your draw length was. It doesn't aggregate the data. With us aggregating the data into a big platform, we can help make some decisions for businesses, manufacturers, about if they made a product that did this, how would that impact them? They can make all kinds of business decisions on that end, and we can also help people benchmark their skills against the general population. So not only are they now competing with themselves and with their friends, they can kind of compete on a global scale if they'd like to.
And have you looked at golf and sort of the uptake of digital apps and to like check your shot and things like that relative to the size of the golf market to substantiate these projections at all?
So we have looked at other industries, and when we filed our patent, it's based on projectile launching of something from a projectile. So we can see a lot of extensibility into other sports. We know golf is very tech heavy because people really spend there. But even outside of golf, the application of the technology, it's not that, we're not inventing something crazy here. It's a useful application for something that gives people some real-time feedback. We've looked at ice hockey equipment. There's all sorts of other sort of projectile launching sports that people participate. So there's so many different areas we can take this technology and very easily apply what we're doing and give people some sort of real-time feedback.
Okay, I'm gonna go one more. Do I have a sec? No?
No?
Okay,
I don't,
fine.
yes?
I'll ask you later.
I'm fine. Okay, thank you.
All right, last but certainly not least, we have Sean Hewitt with Wavy.
Thank you. Hi everyone, I'm Sean and I'm the co-founder of Wavy. Now I want you to picture this. You wake up on a Saturday morning and you're looking for something new to do. If it's me, I want something that's off the beaten path, whether that's a cafe with a secret rooftop or a speakeasy where I can watch some live jazz. As a millennial, I know I'm not alone in this desire. In fact, even outside of millennials, we know that everyone's in agreement the best way to explore is to live like a local does. But when it comes to discovery and planning, we also know that the majority of people are looking for things to do on the go. That means they're relying on their phones to find these hidden gems that they're craving. Now that sounds great in theory, but we've talked to over 200 young professionals who think otherwise. We've seen firsthand that they're frustrated by searching top tourist results, scrolling through an infinite list and suffering from information overload, or having to wait on a friend to reply with their recommendation. This process is painful, and at the end of the day, leads to lack of trust or uncertainty. That's exactly why we're building Wavy, an app that will help you discover and decide which local activities are worth trying. We've done all the hard work for our users, so all they have to do is let us know what they're interested in and where they'd like to explore, and we'll give them a short list of activities that are most relevant to them in the moment. From there, they can even click a button to plan their route and get going, or get live support from our team through chat. We've actually tried and tested this solution with over 200 people so far, who gave an 80% satisfaction rating on our recommendation. From day one, we're focusing on doing 3 things differently than others in our industry. So the first is authenticity, and is really important to us. We're really proud to say that everything in our database has been sourced from a real local expert. We've been working with people like chefs, sommeliers, photographers, and even adventure bloggers to ensure that we're giving our users a top quality recommendation. Now, the second thing is action. Wavy is being built to be used on the go. Instead of accessing everything to do in a category or location, we give our users a curated selection so that they can spend more time exploring and less time searching. The third thing is AI-powered. As we collect more and more data on our users, we'll be able to give a smart recommendation that's based on their past behaviors and what similar users enjoy doing. As we launch, we know we're going after a large market. We're targeting North American millennials who are spending over $5,000 a year on things like recreation, entertainment, and dining out. We're starting in Toronto, but in 3 years, plan to be in 7 of the most up-and-coming cities across North America, where our target is spending over $70 billion a year on experiences like this. Now, as we tackle this market, we'll be focusing on locals first and visitors second. We're building a strong community by hosting exclusive events with our members, really incentivizing referrals, and building strong partnerships with brands in the craft beer and transportation space. We also have a killer Instagram strategy, so be sure to follow us. Through these channels, we're confident that we'll be able to gain 80,000 users within our first year, with who we'll be testing and evaluating 2 revenue streams. The first is a freemium model. Users can pay a small fee of $5 a month to unlock our premium concierge service. They can talk to a real human to get things custom planned for them, whether it's their next date night or special occasion. We'll support this with affiliate marketing, allowing users to make reservations to restaurants and buy tickets to events directly through our app, and we'll earn a commission on each purchase made. We're confident that if we achieve our user acquisition goals, we'll earn over $120,000 in our first year and $400,000 in revenue the year following. Right now, we're a small but mighty team of 2. I have experience leading marketing at Nudge Rewards from seed stage to post-Series A, and my co-founder Peter has a background in travel and hospitality. We know we have the right founding team to bring this product to market and great advisors supporting us along the way. We're actually days away from launching our private beta program on both iOS and Android, where over 500 users will be giving us feedback. From there, we're raising $300,000 in pre-seed funding to hire a lead engineer, launch publicly in Toronto, and grow to 2 additional markets. So winning $100,000 today will help us reach these milestones even faster. If you'd like to join us on our adventure, we'd love to have you, and I'd be happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Just a question, I guess. So getting to 80,000 users within the first year, can you expand on kind of what your assumptions are to get to that?
Absolutely. We see it as a mix between events and networking, so growing a network effect. We actually are putting in place an incentivized referral program where for every user that you invite successfully to the app, you'll get to get $1 off of our premium service. So we're trying to really build a strong community through events, and then people that we acquire, getting them to invite their friends and family. We're also focusing on partnerships with brands in the craft beer space, like Ace Hill or Bandit Brewery in Toronto, because we believe the craft beer lover segment is the perfect target for us in the early days, and also in the transportation space. So we're partnering with a really cool camper van company where we'll give our users giveaways where they can win a weekend escape in a camper van, and taking that to companies like Zipcar or Bikeshare Toronto, who we're in initial talks with, to see if we can partner with them to help their user base explore more often.
And what's your approach to keeping the app fresh? Like, do you have all the data now on, what's curated for a certain type of person today, and as things pop up, and they do every day, how you keep it fresh, and who's running sort of the curation of the experience, if you will?
Right now, it's my co-founder and I running the curation of each experience we include in our app, but we're working with a network of experts, like I mentioned, chefs, sommeliers, adventure bloggers, to find out their favorite things to do in their area of expertise. We're also going to be curating time-sensitive events come this summer so that we can include things like pop-ups, festivals, and events to give our users information on activities that they would fear missing out on. But I think we'll always be curating, so building a strong partner network with influencers and experts will help us keep our database up to date.
And do you feel like you have enough for the private launch coming up,
Yeah,
in sort of a rural area or maybe a certain area of Toronto?
I think between Toronto, Collingwood, Hamilton, Prince Edward County, and Niagara, we have a massive database of everything that is cool and unique to do in those areas. We also take a minimalist approach, so you're not going to be able to see, okay, there's 650 cool coffee shops in Toronto. We'll only recommend 3 that are most relevant to you in terms of location, how much time you have, and what your core interests are, so that you're getting a really relevant recommendation, and it's a minimalist user experience, so that you can go to one of those coffee shops instead of scrolling through and saying, oh, you know what, I'm not going to do any of those today.
So virality is really important here. You mentioned the referral angle. What other techniques do you have to manage the cost acquisition here and marketing dollars that you're going to be spending to reach them?
Okay. I think I have 2 answers for you there. So first, on virality, I think as we explore our product roadmap and further our technology, really rewarding and incentivizing our users to explore more often is a big goal for us. The company I was at previously had expertise in nudge theory, so we're working with behavioral scientists to understand, okay, beyond discovery and inspiration, how can we drive our users to actually take action and go and explore, whether it is that date night or big group outing or a quick road trip out of the city. So we see a long-term vision for our product where the more times people use Wavy and the more places they visit, they'll be able to earn points and redeem those points for things like transportation. So maybe I do get a $5 credit to use towards my Lyft or a $10 credit to rent a bike share or go to my Presto Pass in Toronto so that we can create a viral loop of encouraging people to explore more often. On the user acquisition side, we have a plan for our public beta to acquire our first 10,000, 50,000, 80,000 users, but of course it needs testing and fixing after that. We just tested our first Instagram campaign where we were able to have a 30% conversion from ad to sign up, where industry benchmarks are more at 12%. So I think we're creating something that really resonates with our target user, and hopefully we'll see high conversion through things like Instagram, partnerships, and events.
What's the best existing competitor today?
Best existing competitor. I think I only have a few seconds, but we really look at our competitors in terms of other companies in the experience finding space, companies that are more in the traditional itinerary planning space, and then ones that are considered rent-to-local, where you can go meet up with a real person. I'd say the one that we think is our strongest competitor is Journey, but they're targeting more of an affluent market that's going on longer trips, like a honeymoon, and they're working with them to build completely custom itineraries as they take these international trips. Wavy's more focused on local travel, helping you feel that joy of adventure and travel in your own city and in the surrounding region. So I think our focus on local, being mobile only to be used in the moment, and then our future AI and chat-based capabilities will help us stand out against them. Thank you. Thank you.
Wow, what an incredible job from all of our finalists this afternoon. Let's give them one more round of applause. So at this time, we're going to excuse our judges for deliberation. And for everyone else, feel free to grab a drink, grab something to eat, and we will come back together in a few minutes to announce the winner of the $100,000 prize. All right, we have a decision. Okay, so our judges are back and have made their decision. So it gives me great pleasure to announce the winners of our Fierce Founder Pitch Finale. So we have 2 runner-ups that are going to get a spot in the Fierce Founder Accelerator Program. Those 2 spots go to Gabrielle Mason with Colorsmith, and Sean Hewitt with Wavy. So our winner this evening will also get a spot in the Fierce Founder Accelerator Program once their company is ready, along with 8 hours with one of our growth coaches. So our winner this evening, it's evening now, right? All right, we have Alexandra McCalla with Air Matrix, winning $100,000 and her spot in the Fierce Founder Accelerator. So if we could have you come up, as well as Anthony Vale, CEO-elect of Deloitte Canada, to please present the check. And yeah, you guys come up.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Awesome. So thank you for joining us today, both in the audience and for those following online. We hope you're able to stay for a little bit of our networking portion of this event, which is going to happen in Area 151. So there are a few communitechers with some foam fingers just over there. You can follow them, and they will help you find Area 151. So if we could please ask the winning pitch, as well as all the 8 finalists, to come on stage for a picture with our judges and our sponsors, that would be great. You will also find your jackets over in Area 151 near the reception area when you're leaving. So thank you again to all of our sponsors and everyone for making this possible.